Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Today I wanted to take you through dismantling and servicing a beer engine, or commonly known as a beer pump, the typical type that you would see in a classic British pub where the hand pull is being pulled down and filling your glass. So there are many different types on the market. Now mine is a hygiene or hygiene. Now they're quite basic in their design, but they are very tricky in dismantling and putting back together, ensuring that you do it correctly. Otherwise you'll end up with a hand pull pump that won't pull any liquid through at all. Now the parts for these pumps are very difficult to come by. The main part that you need is the diaphragm, and that's normally of a silicone or rubber or Teflon coated disc. Now I've managed to source a company not too far from here that do food grade silicone. I've measured the diaphragm for thickness and it comes out at 2mm thick. Now being an old diaphragm, that could mean that it was once slightly thicker or even slightly thinner and it's swollen due to age. So I've managed to source a 1.5mm and a 3mm. Couldn't find the 2mm, so I've gone with this. Now once I've demonstrated to you guys on dismantling and servicing, I'll have a go at putting each of those in and seeing where that goes, if it works. Fingers crossed it should do. There are other components there, O-rings and springs. Now good care and attention to those should last for a lot longer than the diaphragm, so you shouldn't need to be replacing them. And again, haven't sourced those as yet, so fingers crossed they're all good. So let's get to dismantling the pump and show you what to expect and what to do. So this is the mechanism, or the pump itself, the cylinder, and inside there you've got the diaphragm. This is clearly the suction coming from the keg. As the pump handle is used, it draws it in through there, up through the diaphragm, and then out, obviously, of the swan neck into your glass. So we're going to take this section apart here, obviously remembering where parts go, what direction they go, and we'll do that now. So as I said, it is a simple design. So you've only got two screws holding this plate. You've got the nylon block squeezing against the cylinder and another nylon block at the top. So it's just being held together by these two nuts. You only need an adjustable or a little socket set. Now when you do these back up, it's not as tight as you can possibly get it. It's just tight enough to ensure that it doesn't leak when you pull beer through it. And it would probably be advised to just pull some water through there first to ensure that you don't have any leaks. So you've got some sprung loaded washers to keep the tension, and some slip washers on there. So that comes off. So you've just got a metal bracket, and then you've got this nylon block. That's your base. You have a seal, and then the chamber itself. Slide that off. Just a stainless steel chamber, right or wrong way, doesn't matter. I can go on upside down, whichever. It doesn't. There is no right or wrong. You can see there's another seal at the other end for the tube, stainless steel tube, and then this is your draw diaphragm. you've got a rubber diaphragm just here, and then this is a tight fit that goes around the cylinder nice and tightly, and that all, as it pulls through, allows the beer to come past it up through some holes here. So that, as you pull, the beer is sucked up through there, comes past the diaphragm by the diaphragm flexing, beer comes in and pushed through, and as you pump it does that. So you've got a retaining nut here, so if we undo this retaining nut, now it's quite important that you remember which direction this part is. It's facing obviously upwards so that the cylinder can slide onto it. Don't get that upside down, otherwise you will have trouble pulling beer through. So there you go, you can just see inside, that's a metal ridged seal in there, and again it spins on this plastic piece, and the beer is pulled up through those holes. So again, look after that, give it a good clean up, it will get dirty with beer. So there's your diaphragm, and it is flexible, but if you can see, there are, let me just wipe that. So I've got some bubbles, blistering going on. Now, I'm not sure whether that's going to be suitable for now beer. It needs to be replaced. Hence why I bought those sheets, and I'll show you those in a little bit. So obviously that's a serviceable, replaceable part, and unfortunately I can't find these. You got a little washer. Now that washer sits inside that hole, and that just centralizes the diaphragm when it's back on the shaft so it doesn't float around and move. Then you've got a floating washer. Now, I haven't actually found why it's floating, the purpose for it. As you can see, it's brown. It would have been probably a white, if not clear, and it's gone brown due to the beer that's been pulled through it. Now, again, I don't know why it's just floating on the shaft, but that is its purpose. I've done extensive search online and diagrams, and yeah, it's there, but I don't know why. Now I work on pumps every day, and I don't know why it's there. So you got the last seal, and you can see the brownness of it. It would have been probably a white or a cream or something, but there you go. And they're identical, so that doesn't matter which end they end up. And that's it. So no point taking this part. There is a seal inside on this shaft, but again, don't try and fix something that isn't broken. At the moment it doesn't leak, so there's no requirement to take it out. Again, I can't find the parts, so if that starts leaking on me after I've taken it out, then I've had it. So let's leave it alone until I need to do something about it. In the base, in this one, there is a non-return. Now if we undo that, so you got an O-ring in there, pretty standard O-ring. I'd imagine you could probably get those. That doesn't look like a specialist part. So you have a spring and then nothing else in there, that's it. You can see the brownness again. I've tried cleaning it up, it doesn't come off. And then this is it's a non-return. So as the pump is pulling or sucking the beer through, this opens up with the spring obviously pushing against it. It opens and allows beer through, and as soon as you stop pumping, the pressure behind it, the spring forces that closed, and it stops the chamber from emptying beer out, and then you end up with just air inside here every time you go and attempt to pour a pint. So it's a non-return, stopping the chamber from dropping out and ending up with an airlock. So again, O-rings, just a clean up. Try not to do too much with them. And the spring. So that's taking it apart. And again, if you can source the parts, please give me a comment down below. What I've done is found some of this silicone. Now this one is only 1.5 mil thick, this one's 3 mils thick, and this is 2 mil thick. So they're flexible enough. I think the 3 mil will probably work, so I can cut that out and try the 3 mil. Give the 3 mil a go first. So they were about £3.50 each from this website. So not too much, haven't wasted much if neither of them work. Now I know this isn't working properly. I've tried it with water. I couldn't get prime, so I couldn't pull liquid through it without pulling through on here. So using something that I can suck the air out, pulling the water through the system. And once I'd got the chamber full, the hand pull pump then worked on its own. But this isn't working, as in it's not creating a seal when you're trying to pull a pint. Once I've got the pump primed, then it works. So this flexibility in this is gone. So this needs to be replaced, which I'll do at some point. So putting this back together then, you need this floating O-ring order. So you need one of your seals that sit that way round, going down over there. You got your loose floating washer. Then the washer that will centralise your diaphragm. And your diaphragm onto there. And then this, you need to ensure, don't know the name of this part, but you need to ensure that it's facing the right way and not the wrong way. That goes on there like that. And then the nut. Don't over tighten, it doesn't need to be tight, just needs to stop it from coming off. Then your cylinder onto there, your last seal, onto there. Now we can reassemble this. So the spring goes in there. You got your non-return sitting in. That just sits on the end of the spring and then just screw it in. And because it's got an O-ring, you only really need it to be hand tight. Now remember, obviously this is the supply line coming in. This faces at the back, so this doesn't face forward in this direction. It's going to face backwards, which would then disappear under the bar counter connected up to your line. Otherwise your line will be at the front here where you're trying to pour a beer. So that goes to the back. Then your metal plate over the top. Your slip washer, sprung loaded washer, and a nut. Likewise with the other side, slip washer, sprung loaded, and your nut. Just feel when you're doing these up that they just feel tight and not over tight. All you're doing is just creating a seal here, so it doesn't need to be forced too much. You can feel it. Okay, so that's how you service a beer engine. As I said earlier, if anyone knows of where these service kits come from, please drop a comment in the bottom. The seals at either end of the chamber are going to need to be replaced at some point, and you can't make those up, or I don't think you could, not successfully anyway, so they need to be replaced. The diaphragm easily replaced with those silicone sheets. Now, as I said, this is a second-hand unit. It was in a cellar, and my local landlord, I just asked him, just off the cuff, just asked him if he had one of these lying around, and he did. Now, most of you that are probably watching this are looking to buy one. Now, eBay generally do, start about £100 and go upwards. Believe it or not, I got this for 25 quid. It wasn't in this condition. It was all tarnished and looking pretty sorry for itself, but a good old bit of elbow grease and Brasso. I haven't used this in years and years, and I couldn't believe how good that has done this brass work here. So bit of Brasso with a bit of medium steel wool, and that's cleaned that up, and it's taken everything out that was blemishing the surface of that, so it's worth doing if you get one. And also the stainless steel swan neck, that was all done as well, and the aluminium castings for the pump itself, so worth doing. Okay, so thanks for watching. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and for all those that have subscribed, big thank you. That seems to be going really well. Please like and leave a comment, and somebody please let me know where we can get a service kit for this, so that we can let the community know, because they seem to be a little bit like rocking horse poo. Can't seem to find them, sourced, looked, so having to make and find other alternatives. So If you do, let us know. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Okay, so I just wanted to follow up and put an end to the video for the servicing of the hand pull pump beer engine, the diaphragm that I mentioned. Now, the two sheets of silicone that I bought, one was a 3mm and one was a 1.5. So I've used this and drew round it onto the 3mm and cut it out. The sheet is here, and I've got absolute quality result. And I'll just show you now with the hand pull what I'm getting. Beforehand, as I said, I had to prime the pump by sucking or having something suck on the end of the swan neck, pull the liquid through, and once the pump was primed, then it would work. But to get it primed, it just wouldn't do it because of the diaphragm. So that's now replaced. I've put that new silicone one inside. I'm going to show you now the result. So I've got the pump connected to a bit of garden hose, and that's running down to a bottle. It hasn't got whiskey in it, just pure water, just to test the pump itself. And we're going to take a glass and give it a go. Right then, here we go. Perfect. Just by replacing that diaphragm, just by replacing that, I now get self-priming on that pump, and I don't have to create a suction here to pull through and fill this chamber first before this pump works. So just by changing that. Now that sheet, that A6, A5, 3mm thick, has done the job. Just over £3, food grade silicone. I'll put the link at the bottom. Please comment, let me know your thoughts. Thanks again.